Hi, and welcome to part two of Spaghetti and Meatballs. You don't remember part one? Strongly suggest checking out the link that's in the description. Go back, watch that. It will definitely help with part two. Though I guess if you're of the more vegetarian persuasion, you don't need part one since it really deals with the meatballs. For part two, we are going to need the second half of the onion that we cut up in part one. We will also need garlic, the aforementioned meatballs, 12 ounces of tomato paste, 28 ounces of crushed tomatoes in puree, 28 ounces of your favorite tomato sauce, and seasoning. First thing that we're going to do is we're going to start cooking our onion in olive oil. Begin with a nice sized stock pot and the onion that we cut up yesterday. Try to get all of it out into the actual pot. Oops. And we want to add in a little bit of olive oil, not a ton. And then not quite my normal heavy pinch of kosher salt, but a light one. Once that's in, give it a stir to combine. Try to spread the onion as evenly as you can across the bottom of the pan. And we're going to put it on low to medium low heat. We are not looking to brown the onion necessarily. We are simply trying to turn it translucent. This sauce recipe, as I said before, in part one, comes from my mother, who learned it from her mother-in-law, who learned it from her mother. It is something that I had probably weekly, or twice a week as a child, because in addition to being very tasty, it's simple and it's cheap. And I didn't realize growing up that a large part of this was because it was easy to afford and it was filling. This pot of sauce that we're going to make today is enough for 2 meals. If you are conservative with sauce, or if you're like me and have a backup 28-ounce can of sauce to add for a second round. This is something I learned how to make when I was in my teens, and that I took with me to college. It's a great way to be popular on the floor of whatever dorm you're in if you know how to cook something that can feed everybody on the floor and get you out of the cafeteria. What you want to do is every so often just keep your onion moving, just so it doesn't brown. We want to try to keep it into a single layer, as I said, for even cooking. This part does take a little bit of time, but it is worth it in the end if you just are patient with it. I have made this sauce, now it's probably going on 25 years that I've been making it. I turned my wife into a red sauce fan after I made it for her. It is very basic, and you have an opportunity when you decide to make that, or should you decide to make this for yourself, to really liven up the flavor to your preference. What we're starting with is a wonderful base for you to build off of. if you like other flavors. One of the things that I often do, I make this every Christmas Eve or every Christmas Day since my mother passed. I make it for my dad and the rest of the family. And I make this pot, and then I will pull out some and start a second pot so that I can add the freshly cut basil that my dad loves so much. It's not a flavor that I'm a huge fan of. He is. So it's really easy to take this sauce and adapt it into something that pleases just about anybody. Okay, about, I don't know, 20 minutes seems to have gone by in the real world while we're doing this. And you can see the onion, while not yet completely translucent, is starting to glisten and have a nice shine on it, which is my signal to bring in the garlic. So I understand that this is considered cheating by many, but I really don't care. I am using already minced garlic, approximately two nice sized tablespoons of garlic right out of the jar. And then we're going to mix those together with the onion and give them a chance to cook a little bit while the onion finishes doing what it's doing. Again, we're spreading it out across the bottom of the pan to get as much coverage as we can. Spread the heat out as best we can among the bits of onion and now garlic in the sauce. Only be a few more minutes of cooking this way before we move on to our next step. Again, patience will be rewarded. This is the nice base of our sauce. It's going to pack a good bit of flavor when we're done. All right, another 5 minutes has gone by in the real world, and we are going to zoom in just a little bit more on our pan here. You can see that a lot of, if not most of the color, has bled out of our onions, which is what we're looking for. So now is the time to kind of push everybody out of the center as much as possible, at least. We are going to add our tomato paste and give it the room it needs to cook. Always want to give your tomato paste at least a little while on its own to heat up before you start messing around with anything else. Give you a better depth of flavor in the long run. So, paste. Kind of spread that out a little bit. I'm going to turn this up to, well, it's a 4 on my burner, which would be just under medium heat. Let that go for about 90 seconds. And that way, tomato paste starts to cook at least a little bit before we're going to drown it in the rest of the sauce products. Let me cut that heat back just a little bit. Start mixing this in with everybody together. 30 more seconds of this. Then we start building. All right, here we go. Now, for those of you who actually paid attention in part one, we have our meatballs that we stored in the fridge last night after completing them. They go in first because I learned, to my shame, that if you try to put the meatballs in after you add all of the sauce, you will make a mess. Next up, we're going to add 28 ounces of crushed tomato in puree and the 28 ounces of tomato sauce. Now, I was taught that you then add water. Rinse out your cans and you add an equal amount at least of water to this pot. One. Here's another one. Now, for all of you who will say, well, that just dilutes the flavor, we're going to be letting this cook for an hour to an hour and a half. A lot of the liquid that's in here is going away, and this helps to prevent burning. I even like to take the tomato paste can and add some water to it to try to get up any of the remaining paste. I tried to stick to the can and hide. Okay. For my own personal measurements, I'm always looking to these metal handles to tell me, hey, that's about where you normally fill it. Stir to kind of get everybody happy and combined, and to get the onion and tomato paste and garlic mixture off the bottom. Now, it's time to add seasoning. I am a big fan of, when it comes to tomato-based sauces, of adding a little bit of sugar. It takes away some of the bitterness and helps it go down easier, just like Mary Poppins said it would when feeding it to the children. I'm not adding quite, maybe 1/8 of a cup of sugar, just so that I have something to balance things out. And we add 1/4 cup of parsley. This is also where, if you are partial to it, you can add your oregano, basil, whatever other spices and herbs you would like. And this version of this sauce is very, very basic. It is a neutral set of flavors to go with the pasta. It has passed the test of time as far as I'm concerned. It's been served at spaghetti dinners. I've been asked to make it for various events, so I consider it to be a great place to begin. 2 pinches, 3 pinches of salt into our wonderful pot of sauce. We're going to do one more stir to combine. Off of, there we go. All right. It's okay to leave it with some just floating on the top. And I like to take a lid and partially cover the pot. This helps to keep some of the heat in while still allowing steam out. I'm going to bring this up to medium high heat. Now I will let this cook for however long it takes to get to a boil. I will come back every 15 minutes or so and give it a stir. And then once it has boiled, reduce the heat to get it down to a simmer. And that's when I'll taste it to see what it might be missing. Back here in a little bit. Okay, so this is exactly what we're looking for. Nice bubbling cauldron of sauce. Put the lid for a moment, and we're going to stir this, which you should have been doing every 10 to 15 minutes, which I know I have been. Now we want to cut that heat back to medium low. This is the point in time where we want to taste. I fully recommend not doing this on your own. I also like to dip just a little bit of bread in. Hand that off to my taste tester extraordinaire, my wife. I'm going to try a little bit myself.
Where's my phone?
Quite hot. What do you think, dear? Anything need to be added?
I don't think so. I think it's good.
Okay.
I just burnt my tongue.
She just burned her tongue, if you couldn't hear that on the recording. But she says it's good to go, and I believe her. So at this point, your sauce is ready to go. You do not have to do pretty much anything else. You can leave it. In fact, I'm going to cut it back just a little bit more. You can leave it go until your pasta is boiled, or you can let it simmer for a bit longer. Fully up to you.